Together with me, I have the honor to host Professor Toni Lerut. He's one of the founding fathers of the European Society of Thoracic Surgeons. And this year we have said that it is very important for the European Society because it celebrates 30 years. So, good morning, and thank you very much, Professor, for this interview, and welcome. It's really a very beautiful and very interesting conference this year, and we celebrate the 30th anniversary. And of course, the first question that I would like to question for you is, what was your inspiration to go ahead and create the society?
Well, I think to answer this question, thank you for the interview, we have to go back to the late 60s, the 70s, where we had real expansion, almost an explosion of cardiac surgery and a huge demand to train cardiac surgeons. As a result, thoracic surgery sort of got undersnowed and had a very, very low profile. So in the late 70s there were some initiatives among leadership in thoracic surgery to create gatherings like clubs, the General Thoracic Club in the United States, in Europe, the European Thoracic Club with the senior leaders, Rico, Kevin Morisi, Morikov, Rivet and others, and we joined, like me and Peter Golstrow, Henki Tooms, remember. So there were talks about doing something more to increase the profile of thoracic surgery. Eventually, under the leadership of Francis Fontan, Ingolf Morikov and Kevin Morisi, in 1986, European Association for Cardiothoracic Surgery was created. It was very successful, but again it was strongly dominated by the cardiac problems and then the cardiac surgery. So again, thoracic surgeons felt somewhat not at ease to find themselves, and we felt that there was need for something more. And so eventually, after some preliminary discussions and gatherings, in November 1993, we came together in Heidelberg under the leadership of Professor Morikov, and so then the society was created. Detlef Brandscheid was the first Secretary General, and so at that time we were 32 to put our signature on that document, and if you want, I have this document.
Yes, it's very interesting because you have brought us a copy of the signatures, and it's really like a treasure this for the European Society. We have here the signatures, and 32 people trusted you to be members and the board meeting of the European Society, that now is one of the biggest societies in the world. And what has changed between those years?
Well, of course, the very first years were difficult. We had to struggle to find ourselves. Of course, our meetings had not this beautiful large exhibition area. There were no exhibitions, so there was no income, there was no money, we had very few members. So it was really a very, very hard time. And also the structuration. In the beginning, after Professor Morikov, Peter Golstrow became the president, was very dynamic, and then we brought in Richard Beresford as the Secretary General, and that was really a good team, together with Sue Esford as our administrative director. So then we got better structured, and I think that was one of the major steps forward, but still there was this difficult financial aspects, but nevertheless, I think it was 2000, actually I was ESTS president. We took the initiative together with Richard Beresford and some others to discuss with EACS, to European Association for Cardiothoracic Surgery, to have back-to-back meetings in order to get more clout, also to get more income, and besides the back-to-back meeting on an annual basis, to have a separate spring meeting where we could find ourselves with our own identity, our own people, our own profile. And I think that really helped very much. It lasted for another 5 years. Then there was a split. It was a bit of a difficult moment because at that time, 2006, I think, the planning was to have a meeting in Rome. For some reason it had to be cancelled. So we were in a bit of a difficult position. So we offered a wild card to have an ESTS meeting in Leuven, Belgium. And I must say that came out as a successful meeting, and I think it was a turning point at that time. There was a good exhibition, there was good interest, and from then on we had new leadership with young people coming in, Gaetano Rocco, Dirk van Raamdonk, and others later, of course, the other Secretary Generals, Brunelli, Hassan Batriel. So we really from then have gone really upwards. I think the difficult period of those days are good souvenirs.
Yes.
You have to fight your way through.
Of course.
But I think where we are now is, I think, the very most profiled thoracic meeting and society. So it really reflects our identity.
And finally, what is the take-home message after this meeting?
Well, the take-home message is, as always, everything needs to progress. There are new developments, there are new technologies. There is a lot of evolution, both on the surgical side as on the non-surgical side, both from the pharmaceutical industry, from the technology industry. So there is a lot of new things coming up, and it's a challenge, of course, for all of us. And this is certainly the place to be, to learn from those new developments, also to learn from other disciplines, to collaborate. I think that's what we expect from these meetings and from the ESTS, of course, with its many committees now all focusing on these different aspects, and of course also to work on the further expansion over Europe. The European region, according to the World Health Organization, is 53 countries. We are in a difficult position in Europe at this point, but it's absolutely necessary to get those 53 countries involved in our organization. I think that's also a big challenge.
Yes, it is. So we hope that another 30 years, and why not 100 years for the European Society. Thank you very much for this interview, Professor.
Thank you very much.